The heart of a working mom is a testament to her limitless capacity for love, resilience in the face of challenges, and the unwavering spirit to build a brighter future for her family. That's not all. Working moms are the ultimate role models. They teach us that passion, patience are not just virtues, but ways of life. In the world of working mothers, every day is an act of courage, balancing both career and family with dedication and grace. Did you know working mothers are crucial to economic growth as they contribute significantly to household income? And the GDP study shows that increasing female labor participation can boost countries' and world's growth. In Australia, around 67% of mothers with children under the age of 15 are a part of workforce in the recent years. How cool is that? Working mothers are significantly contributing to the economy, but not only adding to the labor force, but also promoting a diverse and inclusive workplace culture. Hi, my name is Rachna Khanna. Welcome to today's podcast, where we explore an inspiring journey of my most beautiful friend, beautiful colleague that I work with. She's a new mom, an awesome working professional, known for a soft and gentle demeanor. She's kind, she's generous, she's talented. Her beautiful voice has a unique ability to make everyone feel as if they are meditating, bringing a sense of calm and serenity to any room. I've been there and I've felt so warm. Balancing motherhood with her career is not an easy feat, but she is here to share her relatable experiences and insights as a working mother. Join us as we explore how her life has evolved since becoming a mom, the challenges that she has faced, the strategies she has mastered to find a balance and fulfillment in both her personal and professional life. Without further delay, let's put our hands together and welcome our beautiful soul, our friend, my beautiful soul and friend, Cara.
Hi, Rashna.
You're
Thank you
here.
for the introduction.
I am so happy that you're here.
Very, very happy to be here. It's so lovely to speak to you.
Thank you so much. And I just want to acknowledge you and tell you thank you so much for saying yes and join the mission as a daily life hero, where we are going to touch, move, and inspire 1 million people by 2030. So thank you so much for being here. And I can't wait to begin our conversation.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
Beautiful. Awesome. Let's start. So I'm curious, and I'm sure this is such a relatable topic. I have been a mother, and I know that journey, how the journey had evolved for me. But I would love to hear from you. How was it for you? So, how did your life change when you first became a mom?
I think they sort of tell you that there's nothing that you can properly prepare for in relation to the build up of becoming a mum and all the changes that inevitably do happen as part of that.
Mm.
But for me, yeah, I could only say that my life changed drastically. When I was growing up, it was something that I always imagined that I would have family at some point, but it wasn't something that I necessarily would feel that I was aching for or was my purpose in life. So, my husband and I, we made the decision we'd start trying, and it all happened very, very quickly. We were fortunate. And then suddenly, 9 months later, life changed drastically for us. So it wasn't a smooth transition, to be completely honest with you. I think, as with every couple first bringing a baby home, that also brought so much doubt home. We were so tired. We, being it was the first baby in the family. So, first grandchild for all of our grandparents. I have a brother, but no kids as of yet. So quite literally the first baby in the family. And so for all of us, and I do believe it's a tribe that has has supported the growth of my daughter, but it was a bit of a shock to the system. I think for me, Rashna, as well, I know that you know me through a work setting, but for those that don't, I am a very, very passionate person about work. And for me, it felt very, very unnatural to basically be at home rather than being at work. And I understand that at home is still a job. It definitely felt like that. But for me, I wouldn't say I had the same fulfillment. It didn't feel as natural to me being at home rather than coming to my work every day. So I found that quite an adjustment as well. Obviously, the more time that passed and the more things that we started to learn, and I started to get a bit more courage with things like taking the baby out of the house and
Mm,
trying new things, breastfeeding, all of the different things that you learn. I started to get a bit more confidence in the balance, I suppose, of how my life sort of changed and how it looked now.
mm,
But I think for me, my happiness has returned when I've also come back to work, to be completely honest. I think the balance between both
mm,
is what works for me, but it definitely was a very, very hard year initially.
mm, mm. Can I just take a moment, Cara? Thank you so much for being so brave and so vulnerable, sharing, because this is so relatable to especially new moms, working moms, that it's not an easy transition. It can be so challenging. It is a gift. It works like polarity, that there is a gift that, oh my God, I'm going to be a mom. We are going to be parents. And then for some reason, there is another shift which happens, that I'm changing as a person, who I was. I'm not the same person. I'm a different person. And as you mentioned, you absolutely nailed it when you said it, that it's a shock to the system because I'm not used to. And I remember when Rhea was born, I think it was the first 20 days, my mother in law was sleeping next to me and Rhea was crying. She wanted milk. And of course, I'm the only one who can give milk. And I looked at my mother in law and said, "Why are you asking me? Why don't you just feed her?" And she just got up and she said, "Oh, but I can't. You can only feed her." And I said, whatever. I just didn't realize that all of a sudden I was the creator and I was the one who had to nurture that baby. Of course, as you rightly mentioned, there is no book which is written, that's how you are going to do. Yes, there are a lot of books which tells you that your life is going to change, how to be prepared, but there's nothing which prepares you when you actually become a parent. I hear you. And I'm sure our listeners will thank you for coming out and saying it out loud that, hey, nobody told me that this journey is going to look so different. So thank you. And I'm curious, like you mentioned, that it wasn't easy. What shifted? How did you come up with things that were not natural to you, but you worked your way out and you said, okay, I want to make this work. I want this to be a part of me. How did that shift happen?
Well, I think, honestly, Rashna, I think there's such a loss of identity when all of this happens. And so, I had to sort of almost relearn who I was again. And it did take quite a while to get there, to be completely honest with you, which is, I suppose, almost kind of learning to, I guess, relearning about who I am again in
Mm,
this, with this huge change and forever change as well in my life. And I suppose, how did I do that? Well, I think the best thing was the community of mums, other mums I had around me. I booked myself into a psychologist and had a bit of a chat with them about sort of, why am I feeling like this? And the main thing it came back to was change of identity. And actually, funnily enough, the root cause of it was actually coming down to work. I was feeling a bit resentful with my husband because he was able to get up on a Monday, go to a job he loved, spend the day there, interact with people, stimulation, get paid. and then come home and only be with us for a couple of hours before it all started again. Whereas honestly, that was my dream. I love my job. I love going to work. I love the feeling of being part of something a bit bigger and talking to lots of people, and of course being paid. It makes me feel like I'm doing something that's contributing. And whilst I understand I am contributing by being a mum and being the best mum that I can possibly be, it
Mm.
just didn't feel quite the same as seeing, the same a paycheck come in every couple of weeks in your bank account. But I suppose through talking with people, relating to other mums, that I realized I certainly wasn't feeling alone in this, or I wasn't alone in this. And then honestly, starting back at work, I feel were all steps to reconnect with myself and I guess snap out of where I was and help me with the journey sort of moving forward.
Can I just do this first?
Of course. Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Love hearts. That's so
And
nice.
I can not begin to imagine that transition can be so different for so many women out there. And this is my favorite phrase that I use it all the time, that pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. And when you say yes to you, it changes. And when you realize the fact, and I loved how you very gently and delicately mentioned that I want to be honest with the listeners. I want to be honest with moms specifically, that it's not a happy go lucky journey. There are roller coaster feelings which you don't identify with anymore. Why am I feeling like that? Having a child is absolutely a blessing, but
Mhm.
still I don't feel me. What is going on? And you said it that I did take session. I did go to a psychiatrist to understand my feelings. Despite the fact that you were talking to your family, your community, your partner, your husband, but there were things which were unanswered for you. They didn't know any better. Not that they didn't want to support you, but they didn't know any better. And
Right.
you, in the process of finding identity, that I really want to know what is going on. That is beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that because, again, this is so heartfelt that many people struggle to just say this out also that, you know what, I'm human. I can feel loss of identity. And
Yeah.
you just the way you did it was phenomenal. And there are so many moms who are going to thank you for this. Thank you for bringing this because I'm only human. I want a friend who is talking to me like that because I feel these days people talk, but people don't talk what they're feeling. People talk what they think. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think as well, apologies, the light just went off in this room. I think as well, I felt that when I did talk to my friends
Mm,
or people that were in similar situations, like you mentioned, Rashna,
mm,
we're in similar situations, but everyone is slightly different and handles things in a slightly different way.
mm,
I sometimes felt that maybe there's a bit of pressure for
mm,
people not to communicate how they really feel.
mm,
And there were people, I remember catching up with my mother's group,
mm,
and there were people there that they looked so confident.
mm,
They seemed like they had it all together.
mm,
It was their first baby as well. They were in this exact same position as me, but how come they were so good at this? And with every job that I've ever done, I've always worked really hard and I've always been quite good at my role because I've put in the effort.
mm,
And here I am, I'm putting in every bit of effort that I've got. And
mm,
I don't feel like I'm nailing this, or I don't feel the confidence that I would usually feel
mm,
in, say, a work, a job as
mm,
such.
mm,
Um, so there's a bit of doubt that crept in there as well.
mm,
But you're
mm,
right, my family, my support network were fantastic. But
mm,
sometimes I think it is good to speak to someone external
mm,
and
mm,
get a completely unbiased opinion, or I guess a bit of insight
mm,
into, okay, it makes sense. This is why you're feeling this way.
mm,
Let's try this.
mm,
Um, and I just felt for me that was just a bit of extra support that I really needed. And from
mm,
my perspective, I really truly feel was a bit, I'd say, life changing, to be honest with
Mm.
you.
Mm. That is incredible. And that goes to show that you're not alone in this journey. You can reach out for your support. And sometimes outside your family, unbiased, that touch, that warmth makes a huge difference. I am a product. I can very fairly say when I was going through my own journey, there was no one who could practically tell me what needs to be done. In my time and era, you can't go to psychiatrists. People go to psychiatrists only if you are not okay mentally, which is not true, which is not at all true. This whole program of the daily life hero is a dedication to my brother because I know he did not get the help that he needed at that point of time because he thought that he didn't deserve it. He thought that he does not categorize into having any kind of support that he requires, which is wrong. Everybody needs support. Everybody needs therapy of some kind. Just like if you go to gym, you need a trainer.
Absolutely.
In a classroom, you need to learn a product. You need a trainer. There are something which is unfamiliar. You don't resonate. You don't have a map. You don't have a reference point. You need someone to tell you. It could be somebody from your home. Go you if you have someone like that. If not, please reach out to people. There are so many people who are just waiting to help you. You just have to say yes to you, just like what you did, Cara. And I'm so grateful to you for taking that action and saying yes to you that I really need to feel me. I need to understand and it was a game changer, like you said. And I get it because it was a game changer for me when I hired a coach. For me, the experience of psychiatrist may not have been so fruitful because I wanted answers. I wanted to know what is going on. There has to be a better thing. It has to be something which is so natural. There could be stages that you get there and go to the other side, like polarity, pain, and pleasure, that everything comes with that.
Mm.
But you also have to look at the other side, what is there, and you looked at it. What a beautiful shift that you've made. And as you mentioned, that it did change the direction of your perception and thoughts and feelings. So if I may ask you, uh, I think it'll really help our moms who are listening to this episode. What shifted? What did you find helpful? How did you reconnect with yourself? What shifted, if you don't mind sharing with us?
I think frame of mind shifted,
Mhm.
Rashna, to be honest. And I think that's probably the key here.
Mm,
I've always been exceptionally grateful that I have been able to become a mum. I've got a lot of friends that aren't as fortunate, and I've always been very, very grateful for
mm,
that.
mm,
I think for me though, it was just the understanding that, yep, I'm not alone in this. This is something that a lot of mums go through, and a shift of thoughts from feeling really grateful for what I've got, mindful of how fast time is going, and that I need to, even though there are challenging parts of this journey, I need to try and almost see the silver lining of them at the same point, because before I know it, things are going to fly by.
mm, mm,
Um, there's been a lot of other things that I suppose have shifted my perspective around everything and make me feel a lot better. And I think really important to look after myself in this. I feel like as a lot of mums do, we get almost just consumed with this baby phase. Our whole life is all about the baby and the husband and the house and making sure everything's clean. But something I really did forget to do was actually look after myself.
mm,
Um, it sounds unusual to even use the word selfish, but I think you almost need to plan to be selfish, or try to plan time for yourself at some point, which is not selfish in the end. It's actually probably the best thing that you could do for your husband and for your baby, because it will make you a better version of yourself. It definitely did for me. But really being mindful of that, and thinking that I need to prioritize some Cara time now, and I need to find out these things, that something, what do I love? And even though the original Cara from a couple of years is gone, this is my new version, but I can still love the same things that I did before, and I still can have capacity to do the things that I did before. It may look a little bit different, but it's okay. for example, I'm not catching up with my friends for drinks on a Friday night kind of thing. But hey, I can catch up with them for breakfast, and that is just as great.
Mhm.
So it's just about working out, hey, I can actually have it all. It just looks a bit different.
Mhm. Oh my God, you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. Such a golden nugget that, your life definitely shifts. Your challenges are different. Your life around baby, life around yourself, life around your family changes, shifted big time. And then you take that moment for yourself that, you know what? I want to give time to myself. And that's the greatest gift that you can give it to yourself and to your family, which may not be visible in the beginning, but that's the best gift you can give it to your family by taking care of yourself,
I
which I
agree.
did not learn when I was growing up. I have only learned it quite recently when my healing journey started. And I was like, I was big time people pleaser, big time perfectionist. Both are very dangerous for an identity, for somebody who wants to be perfect at everything and also want to please, because which would mean think that could take 5 hours will take 15 hours because I want it perfect and I want to make everyone happy, which is a disaster. Yes, it does give you a lot of appreciation, a lot of acknowledgement, but in the process, you're hurting yourself so much that you don't realize it at that point in time. And the moment, like just what you did, is giving that gift to yourself. What I do for others, I want to do it for myself. Everything changes and everything does happen the way it is supposed to happen, and maybe more, maybe more. It's just that this is my favorite topic, Cara, self-love, which because I just get to feel that love for me. And the more I feel it, the more I'm able to give it. It's just like, that every time people will give that, is this cup full or empty? Oh, I do not know if it is visible. I say, I'm filling my cup and I don't care whether it is full or empty because I am constantly working on it. And when it's full, because when it's full, I know it'll overflow. And
Yeah.
that's the magic. And, you touch something very beautiful. You have to become selfish to start the self care process. But there is a debunk over here. People may think it's selfish. It will be selfish if I disregard your feelings or your presence or your priorities. But we don't do that. I am encouraging, and I'm sure I can just say it without even asking you. You're not stopping anybody not to take out time for them. You are encouraging you do you, I will do me. Because
Correct.
when we do each other us, we are becoming a better version. And that is self care, that is self love. And that is so important. I cannot insist any further that take time for you, even if it means in the mirror you have to do you're the best, I love you so much. How do we look into the kids and we just do the same thing, right? We look at our kids and say, oh, you're the best creation in the world. That's all you got to do. Look it in the mirror and say you're the best creation in the world and I love you so much. And thank you for bringing that up because this is important. You're not selfish if you're taking care of yourself. You are actually giving a gift to your family, to your friends, and people around you. You're beautiful just the way you are, and you matter. You're precious. You are. And that's exactly you're teaching your daughter because she will automatically learn. No, I'm taking care of myself. I am my own priority. That's the best gift. Thank you. I am so full of love right now. And thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure, Rashna. But I think you nailed it when you said, the analogy about the cup being full.
Yeah.
That's sort of become a bit more of a common phrase in my house. I
Mm.
think we all feel when our cup is getting a little bit low, but I think, yeah, really listening into that inner thought and inner feelings around that. And if you can do something that does fill your cup, even if it's for 30 minutes, it is amazing how the rest of the day will be. And I definitely feel that, say I'm feeling a bit flat, and I do something for myself, even if it's just something like, I don't know, maybe I wanted to paint my toenails or paint my nails or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, I have a bit more of a pep in my step to get through the rest of the day. So it is definitely possible. And I definitely, yeah, it's worked for me.
Beautiful. And I'm sure this is going to really help other moms who are listening. And I would say, not even moms, anybody who's listening to this, because self-love and care is important for every human.
I
It
agree.
is the must do. Don't do anything, but just do this because everything else will follow. So thank you. Fill your cup. And I was wondering, because you have navigated and finding your identity and going through that journey of bringing that balance to yourself, how did your roles expanded or changed or evolved as a mother, as a wife, as a daughter, as a friend? What were the dynamics and what are the dynamics now? Because now you know what you're doing and what you want.
Yeah. Firstly, the dynamics when we brought my daughter home, well, we were just so overwhelmed.
Mm,
Um, I'm very fortunate in the sense that, I've got I guess they say like the modern day
mm,
type husband.
mm,
And what that means is he is on board with this with me. So when I was up in the middle of the night and I was breastfeeding, which by the way, I had real trouble with. So I ended up breastfeeding and also doing some bottle feeding.
mm,
Um, so in the middle of the night, I was breastfeeding, and then part two of that feeding process would be the bottle. And my husband would then do the bottle feeding side of things. So I can truly say my husband and I were in this together,
mm,
and I mean wholeheartedly, night times, daytimes, and then he had to go to work, and then of course I was at home with the baby. So it was a dynamic that was really good,
mm.
but looking back, it was also not that sustainable for either of us because we were both running on empty.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, it was challenging. And soon enough, or I guess sooner than later, obviously, when you're both absolutely shattered and tired, we would niggle with each other, and there'd be more arguments than usual and things
Mm,
like that, just
mm,
because we were so tired and we
mm,
also nervous. We didn't know what to do. However, like you said, that time passed and we became a bit more confident. And I think, when the baby started to sleep better, that was like rejuvenation time for us both. The world started to look, hey, we can do this with a bit more sleep. It's amazing what sleep can do. And I suppose fast forward to now, we have this beautiful family dynamic where we're very appreciative. My husband and I are very appreciative of each other. I'm really trying to work hard on recognizing all of the things that he does, visible and non-visible, and he
mm,
does the same with me.
mm,
And I find that we both really appreciate and look forward to the time that we have together as a family with our daughter.
mm.
On the weekend, we had swimming lessons, for example.
Yeah.
That was the highlight of my week because we got to do these things together. She was having a wonderful time. It's just so wholesome. It was
Yeah.
really, really enjoyable. And I think once you're through some of those tricky parts, these wonderful, wonderful things, the things that you used to read, you read about or you'd hear about people saying once you had a child, it would feel like. I definitely can relate to that. Um,
Yes.
so things are looking pretty good now, thankfully,
Yeah.
and we have a nice, healthy dynamic at home, which is really great. But we had to work on it, and we had to have a lot of conversations, and also we had to have a lot of leeway or show a lot of leeway and grace towards each other because we're navigating this very, very uncertain, rocky path that we'd never been down before. But we've
Um,
got through it, which is great.
Oh, I feel it. I just feel it when I had goosebumps because for every new parent, this is what it is the biggest transition of your life, especially after, you've started working, you've established yourself, and you're now married. After marriage, the birth of the child is the biggest transition period in your life that could bring in. And the more gentle you are, the more kind you are towards each other, and the more you're ready to participate in that partnership, that is a game changer. Yes, like you mentioned, Both are nervous. Both do not know what is going to happen. Every day is different. Every day is challenging. Your family is there to support you, but you don't understand what you're feeling inside. Oh my God, so much and so much more. But the beauty of it is you just carry on
That's right.
and you take help, you seek help, you reach out, and then you're there for each other. You appreciate of what they bring into the family and what and they also appreciate you what you are doing for the family, and then sitting down and discussing and just having that moment with your child like swimming. And those little moments make memories, and those memories last forever. I still remember we used to take Rhea to one of the play areas. Back in India, playgrounds are there, but not as good as we have here. So we used to take her to the mall and where the play areas would be there. And both Rohit and I would just stand and watch her, observe her. And there was so much love. She would enjoy, she would jump. And people used to ask, "What did you do on the weekend?" I said, "We were with Rhea, did nothing. We just enjoyed watching her enjoy her swings and nothing." And I hear you when you said that. Yes, it is
That's
magical.
so
And when
relaxed.
you look back, you would love it and you would want to, oh, go back to that time. I want to spend more time there. And that's how it shifts. And that's the love that you create together. So thank you. Thank you. This is specifically for parents. It does become better. It
Oh,
does change it.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I absolutely love. Now, I was curious and I'm wondering if you could tell us, because you love your work so much and you're such a passionate professional, and hey, workplace do need people like you because you bring so much energy and love to the work, and people want, workplace wants people like us. So when there was a time and you had to, from a 100% motherhood or a daughter or a wife, now you wanted to also tap into your professional area, your workplace. What do you think were the strategies that you thought of course, your baby Maya? How did the transition look like? That now I want to go to my workplace. I want to be there and be the my version, what I really enjoy. How did that look like?
I think, initially my plan was to come back to work at 8 months, and that
Mhm.
was truly prior to me having a baby, what I thought would work for me. And we got to 8 months, and this new feeling came in, Rashna, and it was this feeling of, at this point, Maya was just dabbling with, like she was crawling, but that was sort of the extent of it. And we knew that obviously with me returning back to work, that would mean that there'd be a gap in her weeks. So we'd have to get her into daycare. And something happened to me that I didn't expect, which was that I thought I just can't do this. I feel that not thinking about myself here, I need to think about her.
Mm,
And I think that I needed a little bit more time for her to grow up a bit more so that when we sent her to daycare, she could at least walk and do things like that.
mm,
So my transition to work, I guess, came a little bit later than what I initially had thought. I ended up returning back at 12 months after having Maya, and the transition for her to go into daycare started about a month before that. So I felt quite comfortable with that.
mm,
And then it was the feeling of getting dressed for my first day back in the office. And I felt so nervous. Weird. I'm starting a new job because I felt like a brand new person.
yeah,
And would I be able to do all those things that I used to be able to do?
yeah,
Those doubts that sort of creep into your mind of, does it look the way that I thought it did? I'm going to have to really work really hard to get back to where I was.
mm,
But I did. And I think it helps when you have a supportive manager and workplace. And the workplace that we're at is very inclusive to new mums and working mums in general. And I think that really helped. It was an ease back into it. It wasn't, thankfully, a push into the deep end, which I was incredibly grateful for.
yeah,
But suddenly it just clicked into place. Maybe 1 or 2 weeks, my husband and I got the new routine down pat of daycare days and what days I'd be at work. And actually, I felt like, strangely, life felt a little bit less chaotic. It
Yeah.
felt a bit more organized.
Yeah.
I knew on a Monday how my day would look. It was, for me, that's very similar to my personality. I sort of like to know what I'm doing in advance. I like to have some sort of control, I suppose, over my week. And for me, it just was like, it just clicked into place. So I felt rejuvenated because I filled my cup. I got to go to a workplace I really loved. I got to do a job that I really enjoy. Yet there were challenges as part of that. I had to train myself up in a couple of different things that I'd missed, but it was actually okay. And the transition was a lot smoother than I had anticipated.
That is beautiful. Can I just add, Cara? This was so beautiful. And just when you said that I was a new person and you were so nervous that you wanted to join back the workplace, I just want to give you a snippet what was happening in the workplace. We were so excited that you're coming back. We were just planning, oh my God, it was so nice to have you back. Oh, and we just planning what are the things you will take care of like this? Anywho, we did not know how, but that confidence that you've always shown that I'm there and I got this, even if it takes time, I will do it. You did it anyways.
Oh,
And I
thank you.
remember our conversation. You were on your leaves, but as a team, we remembered you that no, we have to book a ticket for her so that she can be there with us in our, night, awards night. That was so beautiful. And like you mentioned, our workplace, our manager is so beautiful. They're so kind and inclusive that you can't be missed. So that was beautiful. So thank you for saying that it is so important to have a workplace which understands and which balances it out and brings the best out of you. They brought the best out of me, I can tell.
I
And
agree.
absolutely. And I'm so grateful to our workplace that I am so very grateful. I hope they get to listen to this podcast. And I want to tell that anybody who's listening to this podcast that you need to know where you're working. And when you're working, you need to talk to your managers, to your people, so that they know you. They're not mind readers, they don't understand. But when you talk from the place of love and your authentic self, there is no way that they can't help you. They would make sure that they provide every kind of support to help you. It could be difficult initially, but if you keep telling and if you keep showing up for yourself, there's nothing that can stop. So thank you, Cara, for saying. And I just wanted to tell you that you're so loved and you're such a beautiful asset to our team. It's so beautiful to have you.
It's very kind, Rasha, and I definitely feel the same way about you, believe me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Now, I loved it when you said that, yes, it was a newfound with a lot of other things. You got back your control. You felt more organized, and you thought that yes, this is how I want. And your child is taken care, you are taken care, and you felt rejuvenated that yes, this is what I want. Now, because now your roles are expanded. You're a mother, you're a wife, you're a professional worker. What message would you like to give to someone who is either transitioning into becoming a mom or who is either transitioning to join back the workforce? What is one suggestion you can give it to them in their motherhood, early motherhood, when they're in that phase, and after? What are some tips you can share with them that they can already try to envision, yes, this is possible and they can do it?
Yeah. Look, honestly, Rashna, I think that I mean everyone has such different journeys and perspectives on everything. But I think if I had known the confidence that no matter what came up, I'd be okay and I'd get through it, would have been amazing. As life has ebbs and flows, I think there will be challenges in all of our life and there'll be fantastic times in all of our lives, but I just think knowing that it's going to work out. Yep, it's going to be a little bit scary at times. Yep, there's going to be things that you don't know. This might relate to having a new baby. This might be relating to starting back at work or starting a new job. Yes, but you're going to get through it. And there are always people around and we've sort of discussed it before, our tribe that we call it, that will help us. And whether in a professional setting, it might be our managers or colleagues or people that have been through this before. You know, if it's in a just a general new motherhood sort of situation, it might be reaching out to family members, friends that are in similar places. So much support around the place that I had no idea about until you're sort of immersed into this new world. That, you know, I cannot tell you the kindness of so many people. I remember, this is just a little bit left of field, but I remember the first outing I ever went to was to my local Woolworths with the baby. I thought to myself, I'm gonna sound so silly now because it's just natural. But at the time, the thought of getting the baby and myself ready, going for a walk, preparing and packing for whatever may happen on that walk. And I went to my local Woolworths, which is about, I don't know, 5 minute,
Yeah,
7 minute walk, nothing at all.
yeah, yeah.
And I went in there, and there was a really lovely lady who had recognized me from just being a local shopper. And she came up to me and she said, "Oh, is this your baby? Oh my goodness. I was wondering, you know, things like that." And she actually gave me, she bought it herself, which was so thoughtful, a small block of Lindt chocolate. And she said, "I just want to give you this because I know that in the first few weeks it's a bit tough. And if this is just something that gets you through, I hope it makes your day." And
Oh,
I've never forgotten that. And that's an example of someone that I really didn't know that provided me with the love and support. And that carried me for the rest of that day, that week, even now when I think back about that, the kindness of this pretty much a stranger. I guess what I'm trying to say is the support. If you're feeling any kind of uncertainty, there is support around in the most unlikely of places, sometimes places you expect, sometimes you don't, and just know that you will get through it. So
mm,
you keep your head down, you keep working at whatever it may be, and you will get through the other side.
that was so heartfelt and so, so, so true. Thank you so much, Cara. That was beautiful. I absolutely loved our conversation. And I do hope any moms, anybody who's listening to this is for you. This does get better. This is a beautiful transition. You just have to say yes to you. Cara said yes to her. You find your tribe, you find your people. Just say yes, I want support and talk and express yourself because you will get through the other side. And there is so much beauty in that. There's so much love in that. And like Cara said, everything gets organized. Everything does get better after that. And one last question before we wrap up, Cara.
Yeah.
What really keeps you motivated? What advice would you give it to mothers that one thing they must do in order to take care of themselves? Like you mentioned, self-care and self-love is very important. What one suggestion or tip you can give it to them that you just swear by it and you say, yes, I want to do it, and you just go by it. That's a non-negotiable and I must do it for me.
I think time with people and in the outdoors in some capacity. If it's a walk, if it's you're feeling overwhelmed, you just go outside for some fresh air. If you have the capacity to go, for me, I like water. So
Mm.
if you have some capacity to sort of, I don't know, go to the beach and just take a few deep breaths in, and or just be around other people. I think conversations with friends are really important. I think just connecting with people would be the vital thing here, because things that can be quite challenging and seem to be quite rough on your own. But when you connect with other people, I feel like life just changes and everything looks better.
Yeah. Oh, that is such a beautiful way to just have this conversation end is connect with yourself, go to the beach, take a couple of breaths, connect to people who matter to you, and just make the most of it. That is so beautiful. Thank you so much, Kara. This was beautiful, and I'm so loving our conversation. But I'm conscious of your time, and I want to thank you for being here, for being a daily life hero. You are truly inspirational. And I wish you all the very best. May you go even far, as beautiful, as gorgeous that you are. And you create more memories with your family and your love blossom. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And just for our listeners, being a working mom does not mean you're divided. It means you're equipped with double the strength and determination to nurture both your career and your children and your family, and most important, you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to share and don't forget to subscribe. Have a beautiful life and have a beautiful day. Thank you.